Hi, I'm Gregg LeFevre, and this is The Compulsive Storyteller, a series of short personal true stories where we explore the idea that truth can be stranger than fiction. This week's episode is entitled Nakazawa, Simply the Best. It's 2013, and after waiting for 3 months since I reserved a table for two at the new and much heralded Nakazawa, my Japanese wife and I enter the restaurant. Mariko looks radiant in her long sheathed Japanese print dress and her black hair in a bun, inserted with black chopsticks. The restaurant is the ultimate in minimal design, with its lustrous dark ebony walls and sparse, strategically placed works of art and calligraphy. Behind the reservations lectern stands an unlikely character. He's American, not Japanese, has 5 o'clock shadow stubble, and his hair is a mess, not on purpose, just uncombed. He introduces himself as Maurizio. After I give him my name, LeFevre, table for two, he consults his list and responds, "Ah yes, here you are, Mr. Lieberman." I correct him, "No, my name is LeFevre," at which point he's distracted by one of the staff whispering in his ear. And then he repeats, "Yes, Mr. Lieberman." I really don't like this guy. After all the hype in the press about the ultimate Japanese sushi restaurant opening in the West Village, I expect more than this, so I rudely suggest, "Listen, Maurizio, your whole job is to look up our reservation and take us to our table. Can you do that?" Mariko casts her eyes downward in embarrassment. My confrontational behavior is very un-Japanese. He curtly says sorry with a Bronx accent and brushes up against my wife as he passes by and hastily leads us to our table. He doesn't pull out my wife's chair for her, so I help instead, and then he proceeds to reach down between us, almost elbowing Mariko in the face to hand me my menu. I turn my menu around and pass it back to her. Then I say, "Hey Maurizio, what the hell are you doing?" "Sorry," he responds, telling us that last night was their opening night and he didn't get much sleep. By way of apology, he tells us that he can do better. His sheepish half smile makes me take pause. Now let's jump back in time to the inception of Nakazawa in 1965, when the Sushi Jiro restaurant opened underground in the subway stop for the Ginza district in Tokyo. The restaurant had only 10 counter seats. The talents of sushi chef Jiro Ono were apparent from the very beginning, so much so that the restaurant was fully booked 6 days a week for the next 40 years, and Jiro was declared a Japanese national treasure. The restaurant received 3 Michelin stars in a city that boasts of more stars than any other city in the world. Michelin ratings are based on 3 things: quality, originality, and consistency, which were all plentiful in Jiro's little restaurant. The restaurant was also the subject of a film in 2011, Jiro Dreams of Sushi, a Japanese-language American documentary directed by David Gelb. The film follows Jiro Ono, the then 85-year-old sushi master, in his daily food preparations with his son and his assistants. His 20 courses of sushi, served one at a time, cost a minimum of 55,000 yen, or $270 American. The filmmaker later reported, "When I got to Jiro's restaurant, I was not only amazed at how good the sushi was, but I found Jiro to be such a compelling character. I was also fascinated by the story of his son, who's 50 years old, but still works for his father in the restaurant. I thought, here's a story about a person living in his father's shadow, while his father is in a relentless pursuit of perfection. It has all the makings of a great film." Jiro Dreams of Sushi also features the heartrending story of his cheerful, round-faced, goofy-looking assistant Nakazawa, who tries so hard but can never seem to meet the exacting standards of his master. After attempting to make an egg sushi over 200 times, only to hear, "No, no, no," from Jiro, he finally makes one that the master tastes and declares, "Now that's how it should be done." Nakazawa is so happy, he cries. When Jiro calls him a shokunin, meaning a true craftsman who loves his work, the assistant actually jumps for joy. Now back to October of 2013, when I read a note in the New Yorker that in 3 months, a new and very special Japanese omakase restaurant will open on Commerce Street in the West Village. The restaurant is the creation of the aforementioned Maurizio Rava, along with his partner Franco Barboni. They own a Neapolitan pizza restaurant in the Bronx and have tracked down Nakazawa, who is working in obscurity at a Seattle restaurant after the death of Jiro. He accepts their offer to partner with them and open a joint venture named Nakazawa in honor of him. He's a very lucky fellow to now own a 1/3 interest in a new high-end sushi restaurant in the West Village. I decide to surprise Mariko and make reservations for a table for 2 on opening night. Sadly, they are fully booked, but I do manage to get us a table on the following night. On the night after the opening of Nakazawa, Mariko is dressed traditionally. Her makeup is perfect and she looks spectacular. I'm more than proud to have her on my arm as we enter Nakazawa. So now we've come full circle and are back to Maurizio and his sheepish promise to do better. After our host has seated us correctly this time, our Japanese waiter serves one order of sushi after another, describing each. When thinly sliced smoked fluke brushed with golden soy sauce arrives, Mariko whispers in my ear, "It's the best sushi I've had in my whole life." Then, squid with shisho leaf and anyukashi arrives, and we're both bowled over by the flavor. Hay-smoked mackerel provides a multi-layered aftertaste. The parade of sushi continues with soy-marinated king salmon and uni from Hokkaido. Mariko and I are also drinking one pairing after another of different cold sake. We get pleasantly buzzed, and our feelings toward our host warm up more and more. There's no dessert at Nakazawa. It's purely a sushi restaurant, and by the time Maurizio walks us to the front door exit, I have to support my tipsy wife. Our relationship with our host has gone so well that he asked me if he might hire Mariko to teach him Japanese. Earlier in our marriage, I had registered her in a course at the Japan Society on how to teach Japanese to Americans. I'm ambivalent about Maurizio's offer, though, because I'm not sure what his real intentions are. It's been raining outside, and as we exit the restaurant, at the top of the steps stands a Japanese man dressed in a white restaurant outfit. He's smoking a cigarette. Mariko slips on the steps, and he and I both reach out to catch her while she spills the contents of her handbag onto the sidewalk. "Is she really drunk?" the man in white laughingly says to me. "Absolutely," I agree. As we walk away from our special evening, I realize that there was something very familiar about the man in white who just helped us. And when I look back, I see who it is and whisper to my wife, "Wow, that's Nakazawa. She turns around too, and with a tinkling laugh calls out, "Good night, Shokunin Nakazawa." And he flashes back his big, goofy grin. Are you ready to tell your own story on The Compulsive Storyteller? We're launching a new segment of guest storytelling, and we want to hear your stories. Email a voice recording to hello@thecompulsivestoryteller.com. I'll play selected stories on upcoming episodes. Try to be as clear as possible in your recording, and we reserve the right to lightly edit them for length and clarity. Leave your name or contact information in your voicemail or email, and let us know if you'd like the story to be anonymous. I can't wait to hear from you. The Compulsive Storyteller is now co-produced by Gregg LeFevre and Fadia Montserrat, who's also arranged the music and created the special effects. Emily Ramon does design, research, editing, and marketing. Peter Kokoma has made our theme music and for many seasons co-produced the show with me. If you enjoyed this week's episode, let us know. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at The Compulsive Storyteller, and we'd love to hear from you. This podcast is independently produced, so we really appreciate all your help and support. Share the show with your friends, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and please leave a review. You can also check out our website, thecompulsivestoryteller.com, for more information. Thanks for listening, and if you didn't like this one, the next one will be another story. All characters and events portrayed in this podcast are based on my truth, with some names and facts changed for privacy. The conversations and dialogues are based on my best memory, but are not word-for-word recreations.